Anderson, Area Horticulture Agent, and this is Gardening Through the Seasons, and I'm going to be teaching you about composting with wiggle. And we're going to use what you have at home to make rich compost that will enrich your soil and improve your plant's growth. With the help of red wigglers, you will be able to make compost out of newspaper, kitchen scraps that you can then use in your house plants to make a manure tea to fertilize your plants with, or to use as a soil conditioner in your garden. You can add this directly around your plants as a side dressing. You're going to need a recycle container. You can either use a plastic coffee can or a shoebox. These are nice sizes to start out with. You're going to need kitchen scraps as well as newspaper or phone book to start off the bedding with. And to get started, you also need water. To get started, we're going to first punch air holes so that the earthworms will be able to breathe. Red wigglers are animals, and so they breathe air just like we do, so we're going to be punching some holes in the top so that they will be able to breathe. After you punch the holes, we're going to prepare the bedding for the earthworms to live in. And you can take a newspaper or recycle your telephone book, and what you want to do is you want to shred your newspaper into nice long strips. The narrower the better, and then you just put that down in your box. Earthworms need moisture in order to live and breathe, and so we're going to moisten the newspaper just to the point where it's damp. It should not be wet because you do not want your earthworms to drown, and so the right dampness should be where you can only squeeze out just a couple of drops. This is a little too wet, but when I get it to the point where just a couple of drops are coming out, this bedding is ready. And that's ready for earthworms. Your red wigglers need vegetable scraps, and you can use any kitchen scraps like tea bags, coffee grounds with the filter, fruit and vegetable scraps, the ends. Tear the lettuce up into small pieces and put that into your bedding with the tea bags, everything else just in there. And then we're going to get some red wigglers to put in our box. And you should, for this, start out with at least 15 to 20 red wigglers in a box. Once you have your worms in here, we need to put some more bedding on top so that the earthworms are covered. They don't like a lot of light, so we're covering them. Also, anytime you add new food scraps, you want to be able to bury those food scraps so you don't get unwanted insects such as fruit flies and flies getting in. So anytime you add fruit or vegetable scraps, you're going to lift up the bedding and add those and then put the bedding back down. Some things to remember when you're taking care of your worms: you need to avoid meat products, fats, oils, and you don't want to put too much of broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, things that tend to get stinky anyway. So when we do, you always are going to bury your scraps, whatever you're adding, but avoid meat and fat. If it gets too wet, add more dry material. If it gets too dry, you add more fruit and vegetable scraps. And avoid extreme temperatures. Cooked worms don't smell good. If they get too cold, they'll die. And then we want to get to how to harvest your compost once it gets to looking like this, so that you can start your worm bin over using the worms that are in the compost. After about a month, you'll get to where you have compost like this and you want to harvest your compost. So you're going to lay out a tarp or a plastic bag, and you're actually going to dump out your compost onto the tarp. And because earthworms are sensitive to light, you're going to leave this out just like this in sunlight for about 10 to 15 minutes. The worms will go down away from the light. Then you can take and harvest the top layer. You're just going to take off the top part of the compost, and you're going to put this and use this in your garden and on your plants, and put the bottom layer that it contains all the worms back into the worm box to start again. And this is Joy Anderson with Gardening Through the Seasons.